I'm Norma. The restaurant was bathed in a soft, golden glow from the candlelight, the crystal glasses catching the light and creating prismatic reflections on the white tablecloth. My mother's scream pierced through the elegant silence, shattering the illusion of a family reunion. "You tricked us!" she shrieked, her face contorted with rage and betrayal. I tilted my head, looking at her with a calmness that belied the storm of emotions within me. "No," I said, my voice low and steady. "I gave you a game." Silence filled the air as I leaned in closer. "Let's see if you can find your way out." With that, I rose from my chair and walked out of the restaurant, just as I had walked off that train platform 20 years ago. Alone, but this time, with a sense of power and control. It all started when I was just a young girl of 15. My parents, Arthur and Evelyn, were part of the upper crust society. They were known for their extravagance, throwing lavish parties and flaunting their wealth. My older brother, Henry, was their golden child, the one who could do no wrong in their eyes. I, on the other hand, was often an afterthought. One fateful day, we were at the train station. Arthur had a business meeting in another city, and Evelyn decided to tag along. Henry was going to stay with a friend. They had this sick idea of a joke. "Let's see if she finds her way home," Evelyn said with a cruel laugh. I stood there, holding a phone that was almost out of battery, with only $7 in my pocket. My heart felt like it was being ripped apart, the pain so intense that I was sure the strangers around me could hear its desperate cries over the rumbling of the train engines. But I didn't chase after them. I didn't shed a single tear. Instead, I vanished into the crowd, determined to build a new life for myself. For the next 20 years, I was like a ghost with a pulse. I moved to a new city, changed my name, and left no trace behind. I worked long nights at various odd jobs and studied during the day. I learned the art of survival, of being invisible and self-sufficient. By the time I was 30, I had managed to save enough money to buy 3 properties. These weren't just any properties, they were prime real estate in the heart of the city. I rented them out and reinvested the profits. At 32, I took a leap of faith and started my own private security firm. It wasn't easy at first. There were long hours, countless rejections, and financial struggles. But I persevered. I hired the best people, provided top-notch services, and slowly but surely, my firm gained a reputation for excellence. By 35, I had achieved something far more valuable than money. I had control over my life, over my destiny. I was no longer the vulnerable girl they had abandoned at the train station. And then, they found me. It wasn't because they had suddenly developed a conscience or felt regret for what they had done. It was out of sheer desperation. Evelyn showed up first. She still wore the same expensive perfume, the one that used to fill our old mansion. Her sharp eyes were still there, but now they were dulled by age and hardship. There was a softness to her that I had never seen before, as if life had finally taught her humility. Behind her stood Arthur and Henry, both looking subdued and defeated. "Sweetheart," Evelyn said, reaching out for me as if we hadn't last spoken over a slammed train door. I took a step back, my guard up. "What do you want?" I asked, my voice cold. That's when the truth came pouring out. They were broke. Their business ventures had failed, their investments had gone sour. Their house had been foreclosed, their savings were wiped out, and their once prestigious reputation was in tatters. And guess who they had finally remembered? Me. "I just want us to be a family again," Evelyn pleaded. The word family tasted like poison on my lips. But I forced a smile, not a warm or kind one, but a strategic one. "I'll help you," I said. I could feel the relief wash over them. Their shoulders dropped, and their eyes softened. Arthur even let out a laugh, as if he had just won the lottery. Little did they know what was in store for them. A week later, I invited them to a formal dinner at one of the most exclusive restaurants in the city. The place was a symbol of luxury and refinement, where a single mistake could cost more than a month's rent. They were clearly out of place. They were nervous, underdressed, and trying too hard to fit in. It was exactly what I wanted. Halfway through the meal, I slid 3 envelopes across the table. Inside each one, I said calmly, is a contract. Henry was the first to open his. The color drained from his face. What is this? He stammered. Employment agreements, I replied. For my company. Their eyes lit up with hope again, too quickly, too easily. They didn't bother to read the fine print. They just signed on the dotted line, all of them. 3 days later, the truth hit them like a ton of bricks. My company was a behavioral research firm. The contracts they had signed weren't for executive positions. They were to be participants in live case studies. We were going to document their lives, analyze their actions, and expose the long-term consequences of their abandonment, psychological trauma, and parental neglect. And it would all be done legally, publicly, and permanently. As I walked out of the restaurant that night, I knew that I had finally taken back control. I had turned the tables on them, just as they had done to me all those years ago. I was no longer the victim, I was the one in charge. And if this story has your heart racing, your jaw tight, or your mind spinning, hit subscribe because the next story might make this one feel merciful.